Hey Mike, here's just kind of a quick down and dirty what to do to get your MDC working. And like I said, I don't think I heard your MDC tone burst coming through when you were talking on the radio yesterday. At least I don't think I did. But anyhow, the CPS should all be pretty similar, so I'm hoping this matches up with the version you're using. I'm using the Astro portable CPS. I use this to program my XTS 2500 HTs, but they're all pretty similar the way you set them up. But the first thing you got to do is come here under your conventional tree, and you want to come down here to your MDC, and the call list is where you put in other people's ID numbers and then whatever alias you want to show up on your display when their MDC comes through. But you also need to figure out which MDC system your personality uses. Let me open my conventional personality. And don't worry about how many personalities I got here. I have front panel programming enabled on my HTs, and I have a channel zone that's got 16 channels that you can program. They're just open slots that you can program frequencies into from the front panel. So there's actually a separate personality for each channel you have in your zone, which is sort of a pain in the ass. But like, I'll just give you an example. One of my personalities here is tied to my zone of just the standard open GMRS repeater pairs. But I have MDC turned on for that zone too. So if you go into whatever personality is tied to your channel zone, which I can show you that real quick too. Let's see, I think it's this one. And you see where, go here to where it says channels, and it shows what personality you're using here. So whatever zones and channels that you want to use MDC on, you got to make sure, take note of what personality number it is, and then come back to that personality. In my case, I'm going to look at 18 here. And you need to make sure this right here is set as and unmute or mute. If you're doing GMRS, this should be set to non-Astro. And then on the transmit options, same thing, it's non-Astro there. But then you go here to the signaling tab, and you need to make sure it says MDC there. And then if yours has more than one system number, I'll get to that in a second. But you also want to make sure that this PTT ID is checked. And then go to your MDC tab, and you need to make sure that these are all checked, like I have here. And then this is the MDC ID list that's tied to that personality. I think you can have up to 50 MDC IDs and aliases in one call list. But important, you need to make sure this unmute type is set to OR. And once you get that taken care of, let me go ahead and close that. go to your, let's see here, down here in MDC system. And I think mine, that one I was just looking at was system 2, but you'd want to do this for any of them that you have. And this is where you've probably already been on this screen. This is where you create your MDC ID number. In my case, I'm 210A. 210's the last 3 of my call sign. And all my radios that do MDC, I use that same ID. And then on the Midwest network, they want you to use the PTT ID to come through at the end of transmission. So in this case, you're going to want trailing PTT ID set there. And that should get you going. That'll broadcast out your MDC tone burst there at the end of your transmission when you unkey. And everyone will hear that, and if they have their MDC turned on and they can both encode and decode, their radio will decode your MDC. And if they don't have you in their call list, it'll just show your ID number. So once you get that squared away, then you can come back to your call list. And I just named mine MDC1. And then you click on list, and here's where you type in other people's IDs. And then this is what will show up when your radio decodes someone else's MDC. It'll match it up on this list, and it'll display whatever shows here in the text, the call text. So I always like to put the call sign and then the first name, but you know, some of them, you know, people got longer names and you only have so many digits in there, like is, let's see, down here towards the bottom, Javier. I didn't put his whole call sign in there because I know he's a WR and then it's JZ704. So I clipped off the front part so I could fit his whole name in there. You could also abbreviate the name if you can think of something meaningful that'll make sense to you. And that's pretty much it. I don't run the entire MDC list for the network because it's like 420 something IDs, but there's several people on there that have 4, 5, 6. I think there's even one guy that's got 10 or 11. And there's no need to have separate IDs for separate radios that you own. You can run the same ID in any of them. So no matter which one you're using, as long as people have that single ID number in their call list, no matter what radio you're using, theirs will decode and show your alias on their display. And that is pretty much it. I think I covered everything. I'm thinking that maybe the only thing you had done so far is to go in here and, you know, set your ID number. But you definitely need to make sure that trailing PTT ID is checked, because you could have all this done and not have any of these checked and nothing's going to happen. So don't worry about this DOS, the data operated squelch, or really any of this other stuff. So hopefully that will help you out. And if you want someone to do some testing with you, you can, you know, send me an email if you want, or I can leave you my phone number and you can text me and, you know, see if I want to jump on there. But honestly, a lot of people run MDC. So you could simply just get on there, throw out your call sign, say, you know, hey, just testing my MDC. You should hear your own MDC when you unkey due to the repeater lag, you know, hearing the repeater tail. You should hear it, and your radio will decode your own off that tail. So it may show your ID number if you don't have your information in the call list too. But yeah, hopefully that does it for you. Send me an email and let me know how it works out if I don't hear from you. All right, take care, Mike.